My name is Rosie Shatkin, and I am State Policy Advisor for Senator Arnie Roblin. And today I get the awesome privilege of introducing Representative Katty McEwen, joining us in the first ever Fireside Chat on Kxcr 90.7 in Florence. And we are starting this series based on FDR's Fireside Chat back in 1933. And the reason behind those chats was to have the president inform the general public about the want to say pandemic at the time, but it was the economic crisis and the recession. And we invited Representative McEwen this time around to chat with us a little bit about COVID-19, her retirement, and so much more. But before we get started, I wanted to introduce Gigi Lassan. Gigi is the president of the Kxcr board. And Gigi, are you there? Take it over.
Mute.
Rosie, Katty, we are very, very excited and delighted to welcome you to our first Fireside Chat. Thank you again. And for those who are not familiar with our station, Kxcr 90.7 in Florence, it is a non-profit, non-commercial radio station, mostly staffed with volunteers. So we offer a variety of programs that cover social issues, current events, and art. And just to remind you that Kxcr's mission is to inform, educate, and entertain. So please, please support us and tune in. And before I introduce you to our board member, I would like to introduce you to our incredible program director and station manager, Mr. Larry Bloomfield. Thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you.
And for board, here we have Maggie Bagan, our past president. Thank you, Maggie, for accepting to continue being on the board. We really appreciate all your work. We have with us Ruth as well. Ruth Baumrocker. Ruth is there, yes. Then we have Karen Hazelwood with us as well. Board member Michael is with us, Michael Kello. We have Jerry Schneider with us, and we have few members, unfortunately, that could not join us. Joel, Joyce, and Dean are not with us, so I hope I haven't forgotten anyone. And did I forget anyone? Please tell me. I think I have everybody here. And of course,
Jerry's now on the board too.
Last but not least, oh dear Rosie Chatkin, of course. Thank you, Rosie, for being with us. We really, really appreciate everything that you're doing for us, so thank you. And then now this is a great privilege for me to introduce you to our surprise guest, and it is our State Senator Arnie Roblin.
Thank you, Gigi, for the opportunity to be on this first show. It is my privilege to say a few words about an exceptional human being who I have had the opportunity to work with most of my career in Coos Bay. She was my boss as a school board chairman in Coos Bay. She went on to help take care of my children as they were getting ready to go to college, and then came on 8 years ago to become a state representative and take the position that I had had before. Katty is a remarkable woman, great links to our community and understanding the people we have here. She worked tirelessly as one of the first appointed board members on our port. She continues to be that inspiration to people around the state when it comes to transportation and other issues. And I know that from my perspective, for the rest of my life, as I drive over the new Scottsburg Bridge, I will remember the efforts that Katty put into making Oregon a better place for all of us. But it is my privilege to say welcome to this show, and thank you, Katty McEwen, for all of what you have done for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. It's an honor to have you here.
And now I'm going to turn it over to our host tonight, Mr. David Dolly.
Thank you, Senator Roblin. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be showcasing the Kxcr in the community of Florence here tonight statewide in this fireside chat. And it's such an honor to talk tonight to Representative McEwen about her time here serving our state. And so Representative McEwen, you announced last fall of your retirement, and at this year of COVID-19, I'm sure our community are just curious to know, how are your days and how are you getting by during this remarkable time in our lives and our country?
Well, David, first of all, thank you for having me. And I can't say enough about Kxcr 90.7 and the work you've done to pull this together. What a remarkable opportunity you are presenting to your listeners to make sure that people have a chance to hear us. It's important. So I can't thank you all enough for the work you've done as volunteers to give your folks this opportunity. You know, retirement was something I gave a lot of thought to. I think Senator Roblin jumped first, and he's been in the legislature twice as long as I have. And losing Arnie is a tremendous impact on our communities up and down the coast. He spoke briefly about the time that we've had together, but he truly is a statesman. When he was the principal, he did some work with my kids too. We had kind of a mutual, you take care of mine, I'll take care of yours. It worked out okay. But the tone that Arnie set as principal down here for all of those years just made it very clear that those are the qualities he had, and having him in the Senate all this time has been fantastic, and we're lucky, and we will miss him. I just want to make sure that that doesn't go unsaid. So when Arnie decided not to stay and I decided not to run for the Senate, it was for a lot of reasons. You know, when you live down here and you serve in the legislature, you're gone all the time. Senator Roblin and I have to move to Salem to serve. We don't get to go home at night like most of our colleagues. They live within an hour of Salem and get to sleep in their own beds and see their families, and we don't have that privilege. So my husband's been a very patient guy for a lot of years. When I first ran, he said, I'll be okay. I'll get a new dog and a surfboard, and I'll see you on the weekends. And now we're on our second dog, and I can't even tell you how many surfboards. Hopefully in July we'll have puppies. So that's kind of been what's kept him at home and occupied while I was gone during the week for all those months and months and months. So there's a point where, you know, you've kind of done your time and it's time to come home and kind of refocus on the local community. And it's been such an honor to serve. I will miss it. It's very bittersweet, but it's time, and I'm good with that. The virus has changed things. You're absolutely right. And haven't had a haircut since February. I mean, the short session was over, came home, and all of a sudden, you know, kind of all heck broke loose. You asked about my days, and I think Senator Roblin can say the same. The Capitol is closed. And so we haven't been to Salem for quite some time. So we are spending a great deal of time in Zoom meetings, just like this, probably somewhere between 2 to 6 hours a day, sometimes more. There's still a lot of work to be done. Even though we're not in Salem, we're still responsible for our committee work. We're on a call every day at 3:15 with the governor's staff. And depending on the given day, we have the Department of Human Services, we have the Employment Division, we have the Oregon Health Authority, we have the experts that are coming into talking to us about what's happening, you know, in real time, the things that come up that we have to deal with as legislators. We have fabulous staff. Thank you, Rosie, and my staff, Mallory, who manage our offices in our absence, but they're fielding a lot of the basic questions that we are responsible for helping our constituents navigate this. Because for a lot of people, this is very difficult. Our staffs have become experts on the unemployment issues that are facing some of our folks. We have issues around, you know, our small businesses have questions. We're very concerned about our elders in these circumstances. We've been very fortunate so far. We have not had in our district an issue with elder care yet. I fear that greatly. So we're working very hard to make sure that people are well cared for. And it's challenging. I was thinking about a comment that my husband made the other day. When 9/11 occurred, his mother was still living, and he called her. And he said, "Mother, what are we going to do?" And she said, "Jeffrey, when things are at their worst, America's at its best. We're going to be just fine, and we will get through this." And my mother went through the polio epidemic in the 20s. She was quarantined at home, as all the school kids were, for a couple of months. Only she climbed under the fence and went over to play with Bobby Foster next door, which she wasn't supposed to do. And of course, she ended up getting polio. And she ended up living with that, and it was okay. So, these things happen. How we manage them matters. Calm is good. Finding good sources of information is important. And Oregon has done a good job, by and large, of making sure that we're doing pretty well out here in this small northwestern state. And I think it's something that shows the character of Oregonians. They're listening, they're being cautious. We're doing okay. So we want to stay the course. And my walk off into the sunset quietly over the summer, working in the yard and taking some time at the beach with Jeff. He surfs a lot, so I go out with him. Hasn't happened because we're way busier than we thought we were going to be, but it's okay. It's okay. We're doing our jobs, and we'll be here till January 20th.
Kathy, you mentioned getting the right information. What sources are you looking to get information about how to be updated on the information we need?
Well, I mentioned I'm on a call every day, 5 days a week at 3:15, which is kind of real-time information that we get first from Oregon Health Authority about what's happening that particular day with the virus across the state. And of course, we get our local information too with the breakdown. We rely on experts at the Department of Health and Human Services, at the Department of Employment, at the Oregon Health Authority, but we also have our county government, which is a wealth of information locally, and our cities. I mean, we have experts locally who are managing, decisions that happen right here on the ground where we are in Yachats and Florence and Reedsport and Coos Bay, and for Arnie's district, clear up to Tillamook. And so it can come in many forms in many ways. And my battery is, I need to plug in my computer. That wouldn't be good. There we go. So there's good information out there. What I would suggest, if people need information on a particular issue, you can call our offices, and our staffs can direct you to websites or give you phone numbers of places that can be helpful. I think the more local you get, sometimes the better off you are. But Rosie's fantastic, Mallory's good, the county health department is a great place to go. And if you just need somebody to tell you where the website is or what the phone number is, our offices are good resources for that.
And in closing, Kathy, you've been our state representative since 2012, and share with our audiences some of the meaningful projects and relationships you've been able to build throughout the district.
Wow. I will tell you, when I first started in office, the first door that I knocked on was in Yachats. The districts had just been changed when I came in, and Yachats became part of House District 9. Bandon and Charleston went down into House District 1. So the first thing I did was drive up to Yachats, and I knocked on doors in Yachats. And then Florence, and we knocked on doors in Florence and in Mapleton and in Deadwood, clear out to Triangle Lake, visited the school at Triangle Lake, Scottsburg. And of course, I'm from down here, so this is familiar territory for me. I needed to go out and learn what people were interested in the north part of my district, and what an honor it was to do that. It's been just a fantastic opportunity. And Arnie mentioned transportation. Because I was a port commissioner and dealt a lot with trade and marine issues, infrastructure. We bought a rail line. Sometimes you see that little blue locomotive coming up through Florence. I was involved in purchasing that rail line, so I have a keen interest in it. So that was kind of the main focus of the work I did in the legislature. The speaker saw an opportunity to put me someplace where I had some expertise. So that was part of it. But I think one of the things that I got involved in, that wasn't a committee I was on Ag and Natural Resources, so I did a lot of work around those things. Fisheries, I'm on the Pacific States Marine Fisheries Commission, so I do a lot of work that you all know about in your community. The one I wasn't on a committee had to do with elder care. And we had some issues around memory care in our district that were just abysmal. Bad things were happening. So I got really closely involved with writing some legislation around protecting our elders that are in long-term care, particularly memory care and in assisted living. And that was a really an honor for me to get involved in. So that's those are the two things I spent most of my time on. But, you know, of course, you're voting on 4,000 or 5,000 bills a session, so you're always involved in something. Shoot, we had one on raccoon habituation one time that took a lot of wind out of everybody's sails, believe it or not. So some kind of light and funny. Some are really pretty serious, and people's lives are involved. So it's been an honor to serve, sir, and what a pleasure to be in your inaugural Fireside chat.
Yeah.
You know, Kxcr rocks. You guys are amazing. I just really appreciate your willingness and your desire to educate the community. So thank you for that.
And also to share over this last 2 months, when we were notified we had to socially distance, you've been on the front lines with our state offices, hearing what was needed out in the district and being that conduit of information. Now, 2 months later, how has it made you feel to see the execution of working locally and statewide, of resources being delivered, those hospitals getting supported? Share with us what it's been like for you to see this happen, as us to come together as a community.
You know, it is just uncharted territory. It really is. When the virus first hit, I mean, our medical communities came together. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes there's a little competition there. All of a sudden, they were forming groups where they were meeting on a regular basis, talking to each other about how they're going to navigate this. That's groundbreaking. It really, truly is. It's the work that our counties have done. They have stepped up and filled huge gaps of service, which is remarkable. Our cities, how people are communicating is something that is something we should be proud of, and we should foster that and continue it because it's been successful. Some of the challenges of just not knowing how to be helpful, and so you have to be pretty thoughtful about it. We needed some testing things down here, so Arnie and I pull up your bootstraps a little bit, and you start making phone calls and make your needs known. And you all know, out on the coast here, when everybody else, a lot of our colleagues are from the Valley and the metro area, we've got to go up there and be a little bit better prepared and a little bit louder, make our voices heard. And it's challenging to do it from a distance, but we've figured it out and we're doing okay. And it's just a matter of participating, and it's a matter of knowing who to call. Like Arnie mentioned early on, this is about relationships. It's like everything we do in our lives. It's about the relationships that you develop so you can pick up the phone and call somebody. And that's part of what I'll miss when I'm gone, and I'm sure the senator will too. But you all will elect some great people to follow in our stead, and we can't wait to see who they are. And thank you so much for this forum, to allow people an opportunity to communicate, because education and communication are really, really a critical piece right now.
Well, I'd love to share. A couple of our Facebook audiences has commented, yes, this so rocks, this program. And Dee Dee Murphy, Caddy has been absolutely amazing. I really hate seeing her retire. How does that make you feel?
Nice. That makes me, it makes me feel honored and a little bit sad, because what I will miss are those relationships as well that I have developed in the communities I represent, and in the Capitol building, and with the people that we work with in the Capitol every day. The staff in that building are remarkable, and they're unsung heroes. You know, a lot of times our constituents don't see the hard work and the wonderful people that are up there that have their best interests at heart. Politically, we may not agree on everything, but by and large, there are 90 of us who fight like cats and dogs on the floor of the House and the Senate. And then we walk up and have lunch together and talk about our kids and our parents and our husbands and what's going on the weekends. And that's the part people don't see. So that's very nice of Dee Dee, but that's what I will miss. I'll miss the people.
Caddy, Rosie wants to ask you a question.
Oh, no.
Well, Caddy, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about a legacy of yours, of course, and it is the Coastal Caucus and the work that you guys have done. As I've shared with you before, it's the economic summits that we've put on is really a window inside the collaboration that you've done with your colleagues in the Coastal Caucus. Have you seen a lot of difference with the different regions on the Oregon coast or within those Coastal Caucus represented areas in terms of COVID, how it impacts some regions versus other regions? Have you seen much of a difference? Because I think in Florence, we don't have anything yet. I want to say yet. We don't know what can happen as we're opening. But yes.
Certainly, we are. The reason the Coastal Caucus formed years ago, and it was way before my time. This is the longest working caucus in the Oregon legislature. It's the 8 legislators that represent the coastal communities who meet every Thursday morning at 7 o'clock, come rain or come shine. Claire from Brookings up to Astoria. We are bipartisan. We are bicameral, so we're House and Senate. And we when we come together and either oppose something or support something, we have some ability to make some things happen. When I came into the legislature and Senator Verger, who left, said, "You're now in the Coastal Caucus," and I had no idea what I was getting into. We have raucous discussions, we have great camaraderie, but the coast has been hit way harder because a lot of parts of the coast never got out of a recession. First of all, they started off at an economic disadvantage, particularly the southern parts. And when the virus hit, a lot of us are north and south. We're hospitality based, so we took a huge hit. We also took a hit with fisheries. So not only did we start at a lower economic status because we have some struggling communities, then we got hit harder. And our population tends to be older, which means we have a riskier population, which makes it even a little scarier for those of us who represent it. So, Rosie, to your point, what people were very nervous about is because people come to the coast. We love it when people come to the coast, but we don't want them to come to the coast right now because they bring a virus with them. And right now we're doing okay. So a lot of the conversations the Coastal Caucus has had, it's been around how we send a message that, yes, we love you and we want you to come and visit north and south, but maybe it's okay to wait a little while, stick a little closer to your neighborhood until we get through this phase 1. And right now we're doing okay. And see how that goes with phase 1, kind of sticking our toe in the water to reopen. And then let's ease into phase 2 without a great big bang and a lot of visitors coming, because that puts our communities at risk when we have more vulnerable populations with fewer resources on the medical side, with our hospital situations, our clinics. And we're doing a great job. People are organized and they're ready, but you could overwhelm us pretty easily if we're not careful. So I'm not sure, Rosie, if that was the question you were trying to get at. But
no, that was definitely a question. Florence was a little busy this weekend, so it was a little surprising to see. So I thought maybe it differed from region to region, and wanted to know what it was like in Coos Bay. I drove up the coast yesterday, and it felt like Florence was busier than anywhere else. So maybe the word is getting out that we're safer than anywhere else. I'm not sure.
This is going to be a situation where in about 2 weeks, we're going to find out how it went, aren't we?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And, I think one of the good things that's happening, and people are pretty smart. this is about personal responsibility, and it's about managing to, your level of vulnerability, and then having an eye towards everybody else and making sure that we're trying to keep our neighbors safe as well. So, my hope is that, we begin to open this door and that this will go okay. If we start to see that uptick, then I think it's going to dawn on people that maybe I should put that mask on, or, maybe I will order my groceries, or, this is unfinished business. This story is not told yet.
Right.
We're just going to have to wait and see how it goes.
Right.
So I certainly wish everybody the best. We need everybody to stay safe out there. It's important.
Right.
And Kathy, this is our first fireside chat, and we're kind of reminiscing about your 8 years of public service. Is there someone in your history who you modeled in your public service, who inspired you to step forward and serve your community?
I didn't even know it was happening when it happened. But it would be my dad. My dad passed away in January at 98 years old. And I remember when I was a little kid, I had 2 older sisters, and we had 1 television, and we liked to watch a certain set of shows that were interesting to young girls. But the nights when Dad was home, we were watching Walter Cronkite, and it was the nights, it dawned on us later that the reason Dad wasn't home watching Walter Cronkite is because he was on the water board, and he was on the board of Southwestern Oregon Community College when they built it. And he was on this board and that board, and he was also running a business. So he was down doing inventory and the things that you do to run a business. And so we used to not be happy when Dad was home because we didn't get to watch what we wanted to watch, but it's because he was off doing good community work. I didn't realize that at the time. And I think when Jeff and I made a conscious decision to move back here, we were living in Seattle. We had a couple of brand new babies, and we wanted to come home and raise our family here. And we made a conscious decision to do so. Folks like Senator Roblin, folks like, oh gosh, my mother-in-law, who I just adored and loved, was involved in many things in our community. And then there was Senator Verger. I grew up with her daughter, Kathy, and she was my husband's mentor. She talked him into being on the city council when she was the mayor, and he ended up following her. So it's been kind of modeled in my family in a very quiet way. And I'm very grateful for that.
Well, thank you so much for being a part of our fireside chat and connecting civic leaders with our community in the spirit of the mission of the radio station Kxcr. And we are still going to be checking in with you. We're glad that you came. We're going to be having a fireside chat. The goal is every week. So we'd love for you to come back and join our other civic leaders, Representative McEwen. But as you go onto Facebook and see just the glowing comments of how much you're appreciated, what you have done matters. And we can't tell you enough, but to your family, there's a tremendous sacrifice that families go through as well. And please express to your husband and kids how grateful we are of the sacrifices they've made for you to be here.
Oh, thank you so much, David. And again, thank you to you, the board members, Gigi, everybody. This is a wonderful thing you're doing here. And I got to tell you, Kxcr rocks. You guys are fantastic. This is a wonderful, wonderful thing for our community. So thank you.
All right. So in wrapping up, we'd love to give you some more information about the radio station of Kxcr. We're going to bring in our program director, Larry Bloomfield. And Larry, for audiences who would like to learn more about getting involved in the programming or learning about how they can interact with the radio station, what's the best way for viewers to do that?
Well, you can definitely tell this is radio because the lighting in here is really bad. But anybody has a face for radio, believe it or not. And it's very simple here. Here at Kxcr 90.7 FM, It's beautiful because there's a look, even in my office, there's no door, which pretty much gives you the ability to come in and talk to me, anyone, anytime. And they do. And sure enough, we can get just about anything that somebody is interested in getting on the air in a variety of different ways. So there's always that. And of course, we have wonderful programming, a lot of great music of all kinds of variety, and then really good educational programs that can teach you so much that you almost feel like you went to college here.
Well, that's fantastic. And it's done because of the board who you see now on screen. We want to thank each and every one of you. This has been our first Fireside Chat. We appreciate you for joining us through radio, through streaming, and through over Facebook Live. We will see you next week. And please visit our website for ways that you can connect with us and follow us on our social media. On behalf of myself, our board, thank you, Senator Roblin, Representative McEwen. This has been such an honor, and have a good evening.
Thank you so much. Bye.